What is up, YouTube? This is going to be my review of Ruiza from start to finish. I did play her a little bit on stream today, even though the maintenance was giga delayed. But basically, I am running a 295, as you can see in the stats there. I'm running a 295 Ruiza. Now, in this video, you'll see some highlights on the opener build that I tried testing today in RTA. Honestly, I think she serves way better as a debuffer just simply because of the fact that her S2 does rely on you having effectiveness. So running her on an opener build is a little bit troll because you can take full advantage of the laceration debuff with the two-turn silence, unless you have a way to soul burn, right? And obviously, if you're not playing Bellion pre-ban, then Bellion and ER cheesing and MLR and stuff is going to be a nightmare for you to play against, especially with the likes of, Genesis Ross and whatnot, since they're immune to debuffs. Now, I will say that on an opener build, it is possible, but you do need to have Gifted Pen to actually get value so that you can push the back unit, whatever CR you can get with your artifact level. And I think some of her best kind of use cases is kind of on that 4 or 5 slot where you're going to want to play a debuffer to kind of choke out enemies that are playing tank down, like a Ruel, like an Iseria, like a Barunka, like a Ilanab. Those types of, team compositions, I think will probably disappear overnight. I think turn 2 players are going to have a nightmare against this unit. Now, this is my leftover gear in case you want to see exactly what the gear looks like. 19, 21, 20, 19, 21, and effectiveness. So this gear isn't honestly that crazy. Like I'm kind of missing 100 effectiveness, but I'd have to drop probably 20 speed for it, which I don't think is actually that optimal. So I'm going to be trying the 170F build tomorrow on stream and throughout this video. And some of the matches will be from my stream highlights. So if you guys do enjoy, please drop a like and comment below. I will be talking about some of the counters and synergies that she has in just a moment. So let's get right over there. All right, so let's talk about really quickly the synergies that Ruiza has with most units, right? So the first and foremost I would want to suggest is going to be Emil Yolha. Emil Yolha is very prevalent right now in the current meta, obviously, because she has the ability to make one unit Thanos. And the reason why I say Emil Yolha is because when you synergize the artifact from Ruiza, where you get 24% combat readiness, this is going to allow you to play some cool stuff where, Yoha can get boosted up, Ross gets pushed up, or Satsuka gets pushed up, or just any character gets pushed up with a 3F. It's going to do a lot of damage, maybe even ML Aria, for example, right? So this is going to be a really good synergy for someone that, say, maybe you play relatively standard, maybe kind of even leaning a little bit more towards kind of like tank down. You are going to have the ability to kind of play like a POV style Yoha and kind of abuse the artifact with the Ruiza, so it's not going to be able to be targeted by things like Renac or Zeo and stuff like that. Now, one other synergy I would say is going to be MLDN. I think this is obvious, right? She's going to be the one that brings you the book. She's going to allow you to cut, 50 CR, potentially even cut, like up to 75 CR on one turn, right? Now, let me just point out that Veronica cuts, don't mind the build. Veronica cuts 80%, right, with this E. So if you have a max artifact on Ruiza, you're able to push 80% combat readiness on an MLTN to just basically outcut a Veronica, which is kind of insane if you think about it. Because people might pick Veronica on 3 to try to counter your DN, and then you have Ruiza Soulburn, and then boom, DN's cutting 80% combat readiness, which is insane, right? So that's also something to be mindful of if you are planning on using DN and playing that type of aggro setup. Now, with mentioning DN, we have to mention all the other mages that are good in the game, right? Obviously, there's the likes of Freeran, that's going to be very strong. SPA, if they don't have immunity, you're going to be able to play something like Tenebria as well if you have it on book to land debuffs and play control. Ludwig, basically any souls are going to be very strong on her, or just any DPS overall, right? Even if you have like a Strays, right? You're able to boost them in the back, similar to like a Awakened Leaf with Sea Pentapultis. You boost them 30%, 25%, whatever the level of your artifact is, they're going to cut and take a turn and then just one shot, right? So any DPS tuned properly doesn't necessarily have to be a book, okay? Let's just say that. Now, another unit I want to kind of point out is Scales. So Scales is going to be really strong, and you might be thinking, dude, obviously, Scales is OP. But one thing I want to point out is Ruiza. She can put herself in the back, and she can push herself up, okay? Her S3 has a 50% increase for herself. When you add that along with a 24% push, at max is going to be 30%, you're going to push yourself 80%. Now, if you do that, and you are obviously, say, let's say you're hitting into a unit that pushes up, like a Veronka, or just any way you can actually just bridge yourself, then that scale is going to be able to cut and then allow you to get that second turn right away. And then, boom, S2, debuff spread. It's going to be very strong in that sense, so definitely do not sleep on this. And yes, I do have Lady of the Scales on Pursuit for those reasons. Now, in this case, I will say that Ruiza is a artifact or a ranger that has stealth at the start of the battle. So similar to the likes of Sea Phantopolitus, what makes her good into a specific unit? Zeo, right? Because it's a stealth ranger, you look at units like Helion Lua, you look at units like Landy, Sea Phantopolitus. If you're someone that's maybe newer to RTA or you're not familiar with a lot of the matchups, Zeo is obviously going to be very strong to counter the likes of a Ran, the likes of a Briar on Renewed Will, Litica on Renewed Will, Reenact. But the good thing is, if you are picking up Ruiza early and you have maybe Sea Phantopolitus, maybe you can jam a Freerin in some slot. That way they're forced to hit Freeman. You get that 10% combat readiness, similar to how we would Zeo Trap with G-Perg back in the day with a bunch of guiding lights, right? So it works kind of same in that sense. So just be mindful that if someone pick Zeo a little bit too early in these lower ranks, you can definitely abuse this by just Zeo trapping because people might not remember that all of your rangers are stealth and then you have like a G perk or you have a free rin on 3. So those are some of the synergies that I want to highlight. Obviously, that's not all of them and there's more to it, but these are the most obvious ones that I think you can abuse if you're trying to climb for the end of the RTA season. Now, with the synergies out of the way, let us talk about the counters so that you can kind of prepare them if you're going to be fighting Ruiza in RTA yourself. Now, I have to start off the counter section with MLDN, because if you have a unit that has Soul Burn, you can activate DN, and then she can cut and take the turn and wipe your board. So obviously, this is going to be something mentioned. It goes without saying. The seal is going to be very strong, so the likes of ML Luna or just any seal, any way to disrupt, your team from doing what you want to do is going to be strong. With that being said, Reenact, Ran, Briar also are going to be very strong options, even Sea Phantopolitus. The reason why these openers are going to be, strong is because typically the Ruiza is not going to be particularly fast. If they decide to speed up and pick tempo onto you into Ran, Briar Cleave, Sea Phantom Aggro, Ran Cleave with MLDN or Reenact plus, 10A and Dragon King, Sharoon and all that stuff, you're going to probably get run over, right? Because you can't take that first turn and you can't land debuffs. So be careful if they are positioning for a cleave angle. You might not want to lean into a potential draft with Ruiza too much there. Now, with a unit that needs the soul burn, Bellion is going to be obviously mentioned. Mine are ungeared because I pre-ban Bellion in RTA. But if you do see someone that's going to be picking up Ruiza a little bit too early, they want to obviously go for a soul burn, pick that up, jam it on 3, put it on 3F, and then you're good to go and you're ready to rock. With Bellion, obviously, Emma Aria will be strong as well, because if they only have one book, they can't soul burn, right? And then obviously with Aria's new amazing EE, she's going to be able to steal 20 souls away from the enemy. So you're going to be able to sap the souls, just basically suck the muck out of them, reverse, and they can't burn, and then they can't land the debuffs on you, especially on Resistance Warfare, along with Aria's 40% res passive for the whole team. Now, with debuffs, we must talk about one of the best cleansers in the game, Designer Lilibet. Okay? When you have a Gifted Pen, that's 3 debuffs right away. If you Soul Burn, that's going to allow Designer Lilibet to get some Fighting Spirit. So from 50 at the start, goes up to 80. Now, one thing I want to point out is if you have Free Run on your side, this resource gain will be increased. So if anybody decides to play Ruiza debuffers into you when you have free run, Lilibet's going to be an amazing option, so you can insta-proc that first turn, cut 40 CR, and then cut the enemy team, and send it from there. Now, mind you, be careful. If you have a Designer Lilibet that's a little bit slower like this, it might not cut. So you want to kind of speed it up as, the matter progresses. But honestly, my build's kind of outdated. I would say to prepare for like Ran Cleavers, Briar Cleavers, typically you want to have this closer around to that like 250 to 70 mark, just so that you can cut with the Durandal, right? So just be mindful of that. Obviously, I keep saying obviously, but sorry. These are fucking obvious, but it might not be obvious to you. Veronka's will be very strong because she'll be really tanky. You can't kill her. She just sits there, tanks all your damage, and then you have her fucking... You just can't do anything because she is the one that's in the front. If you pair it with a Bellion or an Emma Aria and you can't soul burn, and you're subjected to 15%, and also you might not get the turn. So it's going to be very strong in that sense. Genesis Ross. Okay, Genesis Ross, obviously, he's missing gear, but just pretend he has gear. Okay, Genesis Ross is not going to be able to get injured from the laceration, and it's going to be an anchor. It's going to be a lot of damage. So we'll be very strong naturally into a unit like not just Ruiza, any debuffer. And you should already know this by now, unless you've been living under a rock or you're a new player or you have no idea what you're doing. This doesn't just go for Ruiza. Any debuffer, Ross is always going to be good in those drafts. Okay. The last but not least, I will talk about Abyssal Euphene, and something similar to Abyssal Euphene is Sea Pentapolitus, or sorry, not Politis, Fire Politis, right? Obviously, it's because for the CR passive, because when you're able to, stop Ruiza's tempo, where she gets 50% push, especially with Gifted Pen, could be up to 80%. You have something like a Fire Politis, or you have something like an Abyssal Euphene, it will be able to try to cut some of that tempo away from them. And obviously, Degen Politis is kind of seeing a comeback in the RTA meta right now with a lot of players playing MLTN. So if they do go for that soul burn and then you cut in front of them, they proc the end. Politis has really good value because you have that Abyssal Crown stun chance, you have the strip, you have the unbuffable, you have the blinds. So it will be very good in that sense. So make sure you have these units geared if you're planning on playing into the Ruiza counters. Now, obviously, there's way more counters that I haven't listed, but that is just a high level, the ones that you want to make sure you have available. And if you will be playing Ruiza, you want to make sure to be prepared for these units as well. So have a game plan ready in advance. Anyhow, let me show you guys some of the summons that I did on stream and also some of the highlights and gameplay for Ruiza. And let's get right into it. 298 bookmarks. Will I get lucky? Chat, can I get a GL?
No.
Can I please get a GL?
A few moments later.
One tap. Oh my god, dude. I got baited, man. Oh. Let's go! Let's fucking go! Oh my god. Oh my god. My balls are not slashed.
Witness the power of the chosen. I am the rightful ruler of this land. Kneel before me.
I will save everyone. I despise the arrogant ones.
So I can S3 dispel this, right? And then push back. But then, like... But then he still has, the thing, right? What's a good unit that can synergize with Ruiza?
Unworthy soul, let your death burden this land.
I don't think you can first pick Ruiza. I think. At least not when the OP units are open. If the OP units are open, it might not be fine. Who knows? Maybe my Guap pick can just bail me out. I don't think he wants to give me a free counter. Yeah, I think I died at the end. S1? Question mark? I think I do. But he's 10k injured. You think maybe Hua 1v9s? Thoughts? Hua 1v9 counter? Thoughts? Yo, Nameless, what's up, dude? Oh.
So you've chosen to defy a god. Surrender.
Counter? Oh.
No, I was close.
Wait.
Could I
Counter? No.
The situation
Counter?
is critical.
Wait, you just gave me an extra chance of countering, no? Counter? Oh.
Are you the killer who chased Tora away?
Wait, I won.
I was careless.
Fucking Jake.
Get ready.
Okay, if you think about it though, the only reason I won that was because Ruiza injured down the DN.
Do not
If
interfere.
Ruiza didn't injure down the DN, then wouldn't I have lost? I feel like that's kind of troll, right?
Are you going to provide some entertainment? Be afraid.
Yeah, Alvin. Yes, technically yes.
Fear, judgment.
So there's only one unit that can really soul burn. There's only one unit that can really. Okay, what units can play off soul burn? Frida,
You're quite
Yen,
careful now.
Ludwig.
Show For His Majesty's will. I'll see you disappear.
What else?
reveal thyself. Sword of light.
Impressive.
There's no mercy.
Problem is, if there's ER on this, you can't even land
Deliverance.
Laceration because S2 doesn't ignore ER, which means you have to have F, which means
Is it time?
playing at top speed is a little bit
There
troll.
was never a place for you.
But I'm gonna try to do it anyway.
As long as I'm holding the spear, I won't back down. I despise the arrogant ones. You lack the training.
Witness the power of the chosen.
I actually don't know if it works like that or not, dude.
Not dare.
You should really back down. You fall short.
Holy sh! That injury is crazy.
We're not done.
A simple
Oh my god, that injury is kind of wild.
trust me.
I mean, I probably still lose this though, like to be honest.
Formidable opponent.
I missed for both.
You be careful now.
But I mean, he is silenced. I guess that's the good thing I got going for me.
A little ouchie.
Double miss.
You're in for more than you can
Wait, let me see this pop damage.
How so? Here, take my hand. Where are you going?
And
8.6k.
Do not block me.
Miss.
Room for me.
shall we end this?
8.6k is kind of a lot, bruh. 8.6k is kind of a lot, dude.
I'll show you.
Like, no
what
cap.
your vessel is capable of. That's my guard. Consider this an honor. I'm still just a moment.
Have you prepared yourself?
Increase speed. I don't think I can kill Iseria. That's the only
There's
issue.
no mercy.
I don't kill.
You had your chance to repent. Trust.
That's okay. I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, 8.6k is kind of a lot. I wonder how much of that was from Pursuit. Craft your best gear. What do you recommend to choose? I recommend,
I'll show you
depends, right
what
side
a
or left
true
side?
vessel is capable of.
Rings, effectiveness right side with effectiveness main probably.
Those who deny their
HP,
faith
speed, defense +1.
must suffer consequences.
I was careless. Nerves you with I despise the arrogant ones.
Wait, this guy's on soul? Oh wait, no, it's not. Never mind. Tripping. So, does it dispel buffs first?
So be it.
Let's find out.
Teach you myself.
I can't tell. Was it? I can't really tell if it was. Yo, Garrison, what's up, bro?
I was careless. 言っておくけど私強いよ。嫌なことは
How's the games going? We just started.
早めに終わらせないと。
Stand in line, please.
Okay, low key, I'm gonna cleanse this.
Looking good.
It's affected by miss?
Now, wakey wake.
Let's see, let's see.
So you've
Let's see,
chosen
let's
to
see.
firecall.
Attacks the enemy. So I would assume that it
I felt
is... Okay, so I can S2 here with Laceration.
You're in for more than you can handle.
See the spread?
Try harder. 仕方ないね。
Okay, yeah, it's definitely subjugated to 15%. Yes, for sure.
これでどう？
Let my guard down. I'm still
Your
standing.
defiance amounts to nothing. Worship me.
Let my guard down.
Shall I give it a go?
You did 250 of summons for Slate? No, I just did 30 pulls and I got her.
Shall we end this? I will judge your sins. Trust me.
So obviously, like,
I command thee. Perish.
honestly, I feel like she's a pretty fun unit. I don't know if it's because it's a new toy, but...
Step forward.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still standing.
Will I be enough? It might hurt.
Let my guard down. Let my guard down.
始めようか。
Nice.
I'm still standing. Guard.
ロルザンベル。
I'm still standing. I'm still standing.
Control units are always fun for the user, true.
I'm still standing.
You be careful now, okay? A little ouchie.
Let my guard down.
Okay.
Audacious will.
You better be good from now on.
You're in for more than you can handle.
With such meager results, do you really think you can take me? Let my guard down.
仕方ないね。相手するよ。嫌なことは
So I
早
activated,
めに終わらせないと。
I'm still standing.
I one-shot him,
Take my hand.
I S3,
The odyssey of your life was meant to bring you here.
he's 2 turns silenced on Arunka,
I'll teach you a lesson.
he's lacerationed.
Don't try to avoid
私がやるよ。
this. Let my guard down.
言っておくけど。
Bro, that injury is fucking crazy, bro. Like, the fact that they just get instant, like, full injured, like, that's crazy, bro. Alright, so that is going to conclude the debut that we had for Ruiza. Now, I don't want to kind of, you know, hide how it performed today on stream. So we basically played 14 games of her, and we went 7 for 7. As you can see in my match history, we went 7 for 7. So honestly, 50% win rate character on release day, first picking her in every single game. Honestly, is not that bad, especially with me trying to figure out how to play her. So I'm sure that once we get more playtime with her and we kind of optimize the builds and get more experience with her, her win rate will definitely go up. But until then, I will continue testing her on stream tomorrow, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please drop a like, comment for the algorithm, and if there's anything that you feel like I missed, please let me know in the comments. Appreciate it as always. See you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye!